mai Salama Koko, National Delegates, Koko.
Educated man.
Today, all you hear is bad news. There's no more good news in Nigeria. There's no more good news in Nigeria. All you hear now is bad news. You wake up in the morning, if it's not clean here, it is clean here, it is kidnapped here, it's everything. Monday is 55 in Zamfara. Tuesday is in Taraba. Wednesday is so every day. Something is in the north, east, northwest, southeast, everywhere. It's bad news. You can't even move around now. You can't travel anywhere. If you're in Abuja now, you want to go to Kaduna. I want to fly to Kaduna on Sunday. This is flight on Sunday. Using my phone now, I'll show it to you, Chairman. They just came back to me. Flights have been stopped flying into Kaduna. You want to go by train? No. Road? No. Kaduna is just, can call it Abuja. Kaduna is 1 hour from Abuja, about 100 kilometers from Abuja. And nobody can go to Kaduna from Abuja. If you want to go to Mina, same story. If you want to go to Nasarawa, everywhere, same story. Move around here now is difficult. People can't go to their farms again. If you go to farm now, you live in fear. And why is all this? It's cumulative effect of leadership failure over the years. Cumulative effect of leadership failure over the years. Over the years, our country has been governed badly and things were collapsing quietly. And we didn't do anything. Today it is bad. The problem today is, what do we do to save the situation? How did we get here? We got here because our country, because it's not governed well, have thrown so many people into poverty. People have no job. Our young ones are not doing anything. People now live like beggars. No job, nothing to do. Our young ones are coming out of school. So Nigeria have about 100 million people living in poverty. Imagine what it is. When we do election, the total number of votes cast is about 30 million. But we have 3 times that living in poverty. They don't know where the next meal will come from. Our young ones that went to school don't have a job. Their parents can no longer go to farm. We have 35% unemployment rate. Everywhere is the same story. Our local government, state government, federal government, all they do is borrow money. The money they're borrowing, nobody knows what they're using to do. If you ask them, they say it's for capital project. Where is the capital project? Nobody can see the capital. I was in Bauchi State on Sunday, and I went to the tomb of Tafa Belawas. And they asked me, why did you go there? I said, I went there to pay my respects. Because he borrowed the first money Nigeria ever borrowed in 1964 to build Kainji Dam. 58 years after, Kainji Dam is still standing. He borrowed $782 million to build 760 megawatts of electricity. And he wrote the World Bank, I'm building this to support the economic growth of my country. 1964. The bank approved it and used it to build Kainji Dam. Today, Kainji Dam is standing 58 years after. That money has since been paid. Today, we are generating only 4,000. What he built then was able to give us almost 1,000. So, what we have done in the past 15 years, is 58 years is to improve by only 3,000. Now, our debt, what we are owing now, is $120 billion. When Obasanjo left government, we were owing 3 trillion. Today we are owing 58. That's what we are owing now. What we used it to do, nobody knows. If we have followed what Tafa Balewa did, and we were borrowing, the money he borrowed in 1964, today the equivalent is about 900, call it 1 billion. And we are owing 120 billion. If we were borrowing, he borrowed that, and what they were able to generate them, we can classify as the equivalent of 1,000. Now we are owing 120 billion. If, for example, we were using 1 billion to put 1,000 megawatts, and we just divide that money into 3, and we're able to just use 40 billion, we'll have 40,000 megawatts. Today, Nigeria will be industry everywhere. We didn't. So we're generating only 4,000 megawatts. The second biggest country in Africa is we are 200 million. Second biggest country in Africa is South Africa. They are generating 54,000. We are generating 4,000. And second is doing 54,000. Okay, don't worry. We're generating, so they're generating 50,000 more. That is followed by Egypt. Egypt is generating 55,000. Egypt is 100 million, we are 200 million, we're generating 4. So we have a crisis. It's same thing everywhere. We can't service our debts because the money we borrowed, we consumed it. So it didn't add to the progress of the country. We consumed it. So now we have a problem to service the debts. As we speak now, last year, first 5-6 months, we generated 1,847 billion, and we used 1,802 to service debts. So 98%, because there's no, the one we borrowed was consumed. I can go on and tell you the problem of Nigeria. That is why Nigeria have more people living in poverty than India and China, 2 countries that have a population of 2.8 billion. We have more people living in poverty than both of them combined. If you have that, you're going to have crisis where you're going to have everything. I will not take your time because you've been waiting. Because everybody asks me, how are you going to stop crime? How will you provide security? How will you do this? The best job of a country is to secure its people. If you cannot provide security, then there's no country. People must be safe. There's 2 ways to fight security, natural and defensive. The natural way to fight security is to give people means of livelihood. It's to support people to do the right thing. If you do that, there won't be any problem. The engine of rice production in Nigeria is Kebbi. Am I right? But Kebbi does not produce enough rice for Nigeria. Kebbi does not even produce for export. Why? Because government have not invested properly in that sector. There's so many other agricultural things that can be produced in Kebbi. It's not just rice. From peanuts to rice to cotton, I can go on and on. But government needs to invest. Government needs to support farmers, secure the place. When you put people out of poverty, you inject money that can make people to go into agriculture, even have industries that use the proceeds of the agriculture. Kebbi today, in terms of land size, is about 38,000 square kilometers of land. That's the size of Kebbi. And they're not producing enough rice for Nigeria. Talk less of export. And they can do that if supported. You have a total of about 5,000 square kilometers of land, more than Netherlands. Netherlands minus water is 33,000 square kilometers. Netherlands today is exporting agricultural materials of $120 billion, 8 times what Nigeria earns from oil. Kebbi can actually make Nigeria generate more money than we can get from oil, if it's well positioned. Is it not cotton and everything that you used to do garments? Am I right? Because we borrowed money and thrown it away, we're not generating money. Bangladesh, a country as poor as Nigeria, is exporting $36 billion worth of garments. That is more than twice what we get from oil. But people are not doing anything with it in Kebbi. The world is using for everything that we can keep here. You have a wonderful tourist site. Everybody can be bold. How many people today is excited to come for Agungu Festival? They're scared. They don't know whether they come. They go. So instead of becoming an international festival, it is going down from what it used to be. I came there, I drove there as a student in university. And now that I have children, I can take them there, I can come. Because I'm scared whether I will be safe to bring my children there. But everywhere in the world, tourism is generating money. Morocco earned $3 billion from tourism. And you have one of the best tourism sites, but nothing is happening there because of insecurity, because of lack of government investment. All we do in Nigeria is sharing. That's all we do. All we do in Nigeria is consumption. So Nigeria have sharing formula, sharing formula. What I came to introduce to you is to make it different. Just showing you what Kebbi can do. I landed in this vegetation. I'm looking at a lovely land. I've been to so many countries of the world. About 31 countries studying about Nigeria, and they're borrowing and how they can pay their money if they want to. People have moved from importation of rice. There's nothing Thailand is known today, if not for export of rice, that runs into billions. A country like Vietnam used to be the greatest importer of rice. Vietnam today is exporter of rice, the major exporter of rice. If you're landing Vietnam like I was landing Kebbi now, on the right is bare land, on the left is bare land. If you're arriving Saigon in Vietnam, or you think you're arriving in a rice field. In April alone, Vietnam exported $300 million worth of rice. The annual budget of Kebbi is about $150 billion. Rice exported by Vietnam in 1 month is $175 billion. Because Nigeria is a sharing country. It's not a productive country. What we are saying is that it must change. We cannot continue. Our children, we can't educate them, we can't build school, we can't do anything, we're not investing in education. People will give you all sorts of excuse. And they will tell you, some will even tell you, there's no stories you don't hear. Oh, well, education in the north is this or that and everything. Some will say because we are Christians, some will say because we are Muslim. Have done a full study of Indonesia, which is the highest country with the highest concentration of Muslims. The Indonesian economy is propelled today by small businesses doing production for export. We can do it here. I've gone to so many other countries. So we need to change. We need to build cohesion. We need to come together as a country. We used to be a lovely place. My brother traveled, entered the train in Enugu, and went to read in the University of Maiduguri. All the fish we used to eat in Onitsha comes from Maiduguri. All the dry fish. Today they don't come. You can go on and on. So I've shown you that oil we share is a dead asset. Oil is not the best thing anybody can. Venezuela as a country have 10 times more oil than Nigeria. Venezuela is a collapsed country. In America, we emulate. Texas is not the richest state in America. The richest state in America is California. California is agriculture. $3.3 trillion economy, 8 times Nigerian GDP. Agriculture. That's what we're not doing here. And we have young people with talent, energetic, and we refuse to invest in them. They're running around, our youths are running around, doing nothing, begging, being political talk, being used for one nonsense or the other. When they should be running factories, when they should be in production, when they should be exporting rice, cotton, exporting all sorts of products from the farm, they are not doing anything. Because our governments have refused to invest in our youth. They have refused to invest in our children. So they've driven them into criminality. And that is what we want to change. It can no longer go on like this. People will come, tell you the old story. All I want to tell you is that your country is finished. There's nothing left. What you are doing now is that you're living off borrowed money. And sooner or later, we'll all be refugees. Because we're borrowing money. There's nothing we have now. There's nothing wrong in borrowing. Every country of the world borrows. Every country of the world borrows. What they do with the borrowing is what makes a difference. Egypt owes about 80% of its GDP, but it generates 55,000 megawatts of electricity. Today, our people are started going to medical tourism in India, in Egypt. That's where people go now for medical tourism. If people are sick now, they want to go to Egypt to be cured because they've invested money in education. If you go around the world now, you see everywhere you go in Dubai, in London, everything, you see Egyptian people doing work and driving taxis and everything because they've educated their people. The consequence that Egypt now gets, a country of 100 million people, gets to wise diaspora remittances as Nigeria. Egypt had done medical tourism and exporting medical equipment of over $1 billion a year. Nigerians are the ones going there. Our neighbors, Ghana, have a higher amount of education than Nigeria. Ghana is just 32 million. But their budget for education per head is more than Nigeria. We've not invested. That is what I'm coming. As of this morning, number of out-of-school children in Nigeria is 18.5 million. From 10, it's gone to 18.5. Go and read the UNICEF record. Out of these 10 million are women. These are the greatest engine of development. When you educate a woman, when you support a woman, you support the family. In Bangladesh, out of the $36 billion garment export, employing about 10 million persons, 6 million, 60% are women. They earn money from there. I was in Taraba 2 days ago, and I saw the lovely land in Taraba. They have no money. And I said to them, look at this. You can plant flour. Kenya exported flour of $500 million last year, and you have no flour here. And look at your banks. Children who work in flour industry, non-graduates, are paid $100 a month. They can grow coffee. You can grow coffee as well. Ethiopia exported coffee of $905 million last year. You can go on and on. My dear people will come here and say they want to be president of Nigeria. Your job as delegate is to listen to them. Your job as delegate is to interrogate whatever they tell you. I'm Mr. Peter Obi. I'm a trader. I was born in a trading family. So I grew up through the system. I know the problem of small traders. I know what they go through. I know what it means to create wealth. That's what I do. And I did that. He has told you wonderful things about school. Yes. I've been to the best schools in the world. London School of Economics, everywhere I've been to their world. But for me, as important as it is, it's not a measure of integrity. I'm a trader. And I still trade. I'm a successful trader. I've passed through the corporate world. I've shared companies. I've been director of companies, a number of companies in Nigeria. Those companies, you can go and ask them my past. I was chairman of Fidelity Bank. I've chaired 2 banks. Fidelity Bank have a branch here. You can go and ask them. I've been their chairman when I was 40 years old. I worked closely for 2 people from here. I believe they're from Kebbi. Tanko Ayuba used to be my neighbor. Jaramagoro was the one who nominated me to Board of Fidelity Bank as chairman. Both of them are from Kebbi. I'm going to ask them where they're from. So I can go on and on. And I've been governor. I've been governor of my state for 8 years. Within these 8 years, you can go and ask what we did. And like he mentioned, when I came in, we were owing gratuity and pension 35 billion. Because I know it was in dollars then. We were owing a total of 35 billion in gratuity and outstanding pension. When I left, the day I left office, I was not owing anybody, one person, a penny in gratuity or pension. Because I think it's wrong to owe people in their old age. We're not owing salary, we're not owing pension. We're not owing any contractor or any supplier. And I left in 3 banks in Nigeria, Access Bank, $50 million, 12 billion naira. I left in Diamond Bank, $50 million, 12 billion naira. And I left in Fidelity Bank, $56 million, 12 billion naira. That was the 75 billion. I have no pension. Since I left Anambra State, the government of Anambra State have never bought me pure water. So people are going to come here, listen to them. Verify what they are telling you. People are going to give you money to vote. If they give you money, take it. I said to take the money. It could be your money. And of course you need money. So take the money. It was a gift. You didn't ask them. You're not going to force them. Some will give you. Those like me, who are sponsoring themselves without help from the state, I give you less. Those who are getting from the state can give you more. Take it. Anything anybody give you, say thank you, small or big. The day you will vote, I'm begging you, for the future of your children, for the future of this country, do not look at any of us. Go and get the picture of your children. Go and get the picture of your children. Put it in front of you and ask yourself and your maker, can I be able to contribute in building a society where my child can live in a society where there's no clean every day, where there's no banditry every day. It's where he will have hope. Because you could be voting where he will never have hope, where there's a sense of hopelessness, where he will die. We must stop this abuse. P2B, I have a simple thing that I want to do. I want to move Nigeria from consumption, from sharing to production. I want to remove sharing formula and replace it with production formula. I want to know what each state is producing. Every state in Nigeria have capacity to contribute in better Nigeria. Not without the exception of one. If they can convert the desert in Dubai into a place everybody wants to visit, Nigeria can be a place the world will want to come. All we need is government. All we need is commitment. And that's what I want to be part of doing. Not part of hopelessness. And I'm pleading with you for the future of your children, for the future of your grandchildren. Let's stop this abuse now. Or he will take his revenge on our children and on our grandchildren. Thank you and God bless you.
We thank you very, very much, Mr. President.
Security, today, Nigeria have about 300 police, 300,000 police for 200 million. For 200 million. Isn't that what they will say? Egypt have over 1 million for 100 million. So you need to recruit proper personnel, equip them properly. It's simple. And how do we do it? The reason why we are not doing it because we said we don't have enough revenue. How do you get enough revenue? By empowering people. The more people make money, the more they pay you tax, the more you generate money, and that's it. So you have more revenue to do other things. So fighting it is not, you equip, put personnel, equip them properly, support them properly, and by doing that, you get foreign investment. And I give you an example that is more technical. Nigeria today borrows money. Nigeria today, if Nigeria wants to borrow money today in Eurobond, it costs them 8%. 8%. If Morocco wants to borrow that money, it costs them 2%. You know why? Because if I'm investing more in Nigeria, I'm taking too much risk. But if I secure Nigeria, more investment will come. I will bring down the percentage. So today I'm owing $100 billion. It costs me $8 billion to service it every year. If I owed less than, if I provide security, I won't pay more than 3, so I'll save $5 billion. $5 billion today, convert it at 500 is 2.5 trillion. You can use it. How much do you pay a policeman? You can use it to put thousands in employment. So it's a simple thing. It's a question of how do we go about it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. We wish you. Let us join ourselves together and give him support on that day. He is a full action. I believe in. I have been following his policies, and I calls on all of our delegates to please on that day. Let's forget everything. Let us have a person that can pick the country. We are rid of this nonsense of APC government. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very, very much.
I don't think to tell us who is Peter Obi. We know why Peter Obi became running mate of Atiku in 2019. Being a decent person, Peter Obi deserves all our delegates, those present and those that are not present. I don't think it's anyone of not with Peter Obi. Peter Obi made mention one of our icon, Barrister Kabiru Tadimu, our elder. So, as you tell you are with him, we are all too with him. The second thing, we have 2 presidential aspirants, Peter Obi and others. I can see in the absence of Peter Obi when he became president, the woman standing here before us, maybe it's from Zamfara, Sokoto, and Kebbi. The logo that he used to bring here with it, I see if Shagari is around with Alex Kebbi. So Peter Obi is a politician, is a lecturer. So we thank you. We pray Almighty Allah to guide you. Inshallah, we don't know where the convention will take place. In Allah, in Abuja, you see what we can do for Peter Obi. Peter Obi is for Kebbi. On behalf of my able state chairman, Alhaji Usman Bello Suru, because you have met, so it's wishing you the best. May Almighty Allah guide us.
Thanks for checking out SYMFONI on YouTube. Please be sure to subscribe and like our videos for updates.